Paltrocast now with Darren Paltrowitz. Get ready to listen to your favorite artists.
Paltrocast.
Darren, how's it going?
Brian, I have so much to ask you, but we're going to make the time work. Besides all that small talk, how's your day going, aside from being asked the same questions over and over and over again?
The day's going great. I actually enjoy this. I love talking about projects that I got to do and meet people like yourself, and this is fun. So day's going great. How's your day going?
Nonstop but good, but I'm talking to you here. And Boneyard is the new film. I have another film to ask you about in a second. But Boneyard, you play Detective Ortega. A lot of people first kind of found out about you in a big way through Cougar Town. So we saw you do comedy in that. We've seen you do drama. Was action always the place you wanted to be, though?
Comedy was my first love. I started in comedy, believe it or not. But I like to do it all, comedy, action, drama, whatever will take me. I like to mix it up. But yeah, so you like to work. That's what I'm hearing. And detective, I love making movies, man. I love being on the set. I love creating with my fellow actors and directors and collaborators. I love making films and shows.
Is there any of Detective Ortega in you, the human being?
Yes, yeah, 100%. Well, it is, it's my version of him. You can't help but have some of yourself in your characters that you play. It's just impossible. But I made it personal. I made I come from a cop family. So my dad and I were the only ones that weren't cops. All my cousins, my uncle's a detective. He's retired. So I grew up in it. I grew up in this in the cop world. My cousins were SWAT. It goes down the line. So doing these kinds of films and these kinds of characters, it's personal. And I do bring a lot of myself to these roles and my experience and my limited knowledge that I have. So yeah.
Well, one or two more questions about Boneyard, and then I have to ask something about one or two projects ago. And the first thing is, was this film actually made in Las Vegas, or is that fake news in terms of Wikipedia and all that kind of stuff?
I mean, I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about that, but I'll tell you, yeah, we shot it in Las Vegas. They did exteriors, they did some shots in Albuquerque, but we shot it and filmed it in Las Vegas. I wish we shot it. I love Vegas, I'm very fond of Albuquerque. I got to spend some time 8 months in Albuquerque, and my wife and I absolutely fell in love with Albuquerque and New Mexico. So anyway, we did shoot it in Las Vegas.
So you just confirmed one of my obsessions that no one has been able to confirm, and that's that there is a Las Vegas set at the New Mexico Film Studio.
It's the New Mexico Film Studio. I'm not sure. We filmed in Las Vegas, but it's supposed to take place in Albuquerque. I mean, I don't know. So I'm sure there's a Vegas set in this, in one of the stages in Albuquerque. I'm not sure.
Oh, well, I guess I'll have to go to another talented person to confirm that. But when I said that there was a project or two I wanted to ask about, do you have these in your closet still?
How did you get that shirt? I want one.
So I did the junket. Maybe I'll send you that one. I'll
get one from Lige. Don't worry about it. Yeah. I got hookups. That's hysterical.
I asked on the junket, are there any plans to merchandise those? And they went, that's a good idea. Can we send you that? And yeah. I had it. So you don't have one.
I don't have one.
Okay.
I'm going to get one.
So, when I'm talking about your versatility as an actor, every other actor that I spoke to from that film was all going, yeah, I had this recovery path, and that's me playing a different version of myself. Was that you as well? Did you clean your act up?
To be honest with you, yeah, I mean, no, I met the director and the writer. I was sober for a while and doing men's meetings and and is part of that world. Yeah. And I'm no longer. I'm just want to be clear. And
California sober, I believe.
there you go. I don't call it that, but I'm telling you, it changed my life. The best thing, I think it's probably the best decision I made. So there is a version of that was personal to me too. And that character, I have experience with that. And I mean, I think everybody on the on the cast was, except for one who now is. So yeah, I did. I brought my personal experience, and that's how I met filmmaker Lige Sarkey, and the writer, director, producer. He's a good friend of mine.
Yeah, that film showed a different side of you that I don't think that people had seen in other films. So ultimately, is this storyteller who's able to do funny stuff, action, drama, recovery, etc. Are you yourself a writer, producer in the making?
In the making, yeah. I've tried to produce a couple of things that were proven to be a lot more difficult than I thought, and just trying to get all the pieces of that puzzle together. It's a lot more complicated than I imagined, but I do write, and I will direct again and produce, and I'm leaning more into that with the time that I have. But I find I enjoy it. So yes, I am leaning more into that direction for sure.
And then another question, which has nothing to do with Boneyard. You see, we keep saying the name, so the algorithm picks up that we're talking about the film, and it does just fine.
Boneyard?
Yeah, Boneyard. The new
Boneyard. I heard it.
I see 4 pegs on a guitar head behind you. Are you a bass player?
I play the bass, and I'm terrible at the guitar. My wife has she plays the piano, and that's hers. But I'm not good. But I do try to. But I do enjoy playing.
Well, the follow-up to that is there a Brian Van Holt version of Dog Star?
Oh my God. I wish there might be. I forgot to tell you. I forgot to mention in the last interview. But yeah, then I'm doing I'm going to play a washed-up rock star in this next film. We're trying to get a start date. That will probably be my next movie. But I guess a washed-up 90s rocker.
Who would be your go-to inspiration for that? And I'm not calling them wash up, but do you go like the more of the Candlebox route? Where do you first look when you go 90s, rock?
Oh, I go like Alice in Chains, and they go more of the Seattle grunge kind of thing. And I'm up, but 90s, I would go in that direction probably. I was a big, it's weird. My music taste is crazy. I'm a huge Prince fan, and then I'm also a huge Leonard Skinner fan, and I'm all over the place. But I love the Seattle music scene in the 90s. That was special. For now. Yeah.
Well, I don't mean to ruin Alice in Chains for you, but the music was super, super dark. Yet the second they were on stage, they couldn't keep a straight face. Everything was practical jokes. Like, have you ever looked up what their set lists look like, the physical set lists?
No, but I never saw him live in concert either. So I'm bummed I missed out on that.
Oh, still touring with William Duvall on lead vocals. I recommend it.
Oh, when Lane's passed away, I didn't thought they were done. Oh, you recommend it? All right, I'll
promise.
Go.
They're as good as ever. And
no way. I appreciate that. I will.
So last question before I let you go. Boneyard is a new film. There's that music-related film in the works. Do we know what's next for you, or is it Boneyard forever and ever?
It's not Boneyard forever and ever. We don't know exactly what's next. I'm hoping it's this film that I'll get to play this. Not washed up, but this weathered rock star. So we're not sure. I have to write something. Better figure it out.
There you go. Well, keeping them guessing. Looking forward to whatever's coming next from you, and I hope that you get a Sweet Creams jersey in the near.
You made my day. I love the fact that you have a Sweet Creams jersey. I'm getting one. I love that.
Paltrocast. Excited to meet you because we heard that you're the only one who asked specifically for more time. So, and you're the only one who got it. So there you go.
So I'm going to have to do the punk rock thing and do the exact opposite and go under my time just to annoy you. So the bottom line is, I'll throw it to Bart first. I'll give you the two-parter and I'll say, how are you and how does it feel to be answering the same questions over and over and over and over again today?
I am excellent. I'm hopped up on about 750 milliliters of coffee here. And the funny thing is everyone asks the question in a way that the answers are almost all different. Like just a slight tweak on that question. And it makes me think of a whole other ways of answering it. So I don't really feel like every question has kind of felt a little different. We're good.
Got it. Chris, is that same two-part response for you as well?
I would say so, yes. I have had more than 750 milliliters of coffee, though. So, I'm probably sitting at the 3-liter mark. And
well,
what the hell?
Ready to blow.
Coffee you drinking a day, dude?
I know my caffeine milligrams. When I drink one of my stupid energy drinks, it's like 300. And they say you're supposed to have 450 in a day for a healthy heart. So,
is that the doctor's recommendation?
Yeah.
That's great.
The least healthy showrunners there are. But Chris, how did you and Bart first connect?
Bart and I first met in college, second year university. We were in a video class together, and we strapped a Nintendo Entertainment System to his head and rolled around the campus with a video camera, having him jump up and down like he was Mario on other people's picnic tables. And I was like,
to think that was before YouTube, or there was no reason to do that.
No, we weren't going to put it anywhere. It's video just for us, idiots. But I was like,
as to rudely interrupt you here, as much as you might laugh at that gag was in that movie Kung Fury.
Really?
Son of a bitch. He stole it.
I know. So what I'm saying is, like, you guys as college hacks were ahead of your time.
That's kind of a theme with us.
Well, Bart, do you remember that video shoot fondly with wearing a console like that?
I actually completely forgot about that till now, and I'm just like, that was a whole other universe of, like animation. You get to hide behind a screen. You get to hide, like going out there and just in the cafeteria at a busy university, jumping on people's tables and shit. Like, did I think I was Tom Green? Like, what the hell was I doing?
Well, am I allowed to know which university that was a part of? Because in other words, are they proud of you? And are they soliciting donations on your behalf? Because sometimes when you have successful comedy alumni, the university goes, nope, we're good.
I don't know if so that was UBC. We're in Canada, Vancouver. So that was UBCO, which is in the interior. But all of our work and like everything happened at Emily Carr, which is an art school in Vancouver, an amazing one. I don't think they know what we're up to. Maybe we should let them know.
Yeah, we'll send them an email, see what's going on. I don't think they've heard of us.
So I have a stupid point of curiosity Vancouver question, because a lot of my favorite albums of all time were recorded in British Columbia because of Bob Rock or Bryan Adams or something like that. Okay, So in the music industry, I know that there was American artists who were tracking their albums in Canada just because the Canadian government mandated you had to play a certain amount of that on the radio. In other words, Bon Jovi, Slippery When Wet, that's a Canadian album because they recorded it in Canada. Does it work that same way with Canadian animators and television?
It certainly does. It certainly does. And there's a whole, I mean, we are not educated enough to like give you a full breakdown of it. I don't think we kind of know the ins and outs of the system quite a bit. I do know that there's a lot of stuff that is made here. Like Vancouver is a service city in the animation front. So there's a lot of American stuff that's made here. And by doing so, you do get some certain points on that scale. But our show is, fully Canadian. So like we are, I think our partners called it a 10 out of 10 Canadian production. Yes. Don't know what that means, but we did it. And that was kind of, that was a feather in our hats too, because we got to kind of like do everything here with Canadian people. And then take it and ship it somewhere else.
and most people won't know the difference. No, I'm kidding. No. I love Canada. Don't get me wrong. I've been to Fredericton, Canada a couple times. Have either of you ever been to or heard of Fredericton?
It's made up.
Trick question. We knew it.
It's paranormal.
Yeah, there you go. So, Bart, what exactly was it that made you go, I'm going to also create shows, not just be a voice actor.
Oh, I think the creating the shows came first. I actually it was a slow follow up to me wanting to, I guess, other than strapping a Nintendo to my head and recording myself. It was a slow follow up to me wanting to act and stuff. The funny thing is, our first kind of big collab piece between Chris and I is we started doing episodes of He-Man live action, but like really weird, as you can imagine. And Chris was like the star. I was like, oh, this guy's hilarious. He's so funny. Like I was behind the camera the whole time. But then when we started making animation, we're like, well, we need more than one voice in these. So I kind of joined in. So it was like the comedy and the writing came first. The idea of acting or voice acting in it was definitely secondary.
Wow, there you go. And Chris, to now enter the phase where I ask the same questions that every other writer asked you today. So your series, how long does it actually take to make an episode? We South Park fans know it's a week, but no other animation show on the planet should work like that.
Yeah, no. And we were constantly pushing to get to that target. I think I brought it up a couple times and it was not popular for doing that. But Bart, can you remember specifically like how long?
2.5 months, I think. It was 10 weeks.
Wow. 10 weeks. And that's kind of it's a tough thing to quantify because we had probably from scripting to final episode, there were maybe 6 or 7 episodes in some form of production during that. So it was kind of like a rolling train. So it's really hard to like crunch it down to like this sort of time. But it was
thinking about.
Sorry, go ahead,
it was 24 episodes in 18 months. So it's, yeah, I don't know. Did that land at 10 weeks an episode? Maybe not. But yeah, it was like a waterfall system. Is that what they call it? Yeah. Where you're working on multiple episodes at the same time.
Yeah.
By the way,
no.
You haven't asked a single question that anyone else has asked. Everyone has questions we have not.
I'm going to try on this next one. Okay.
Please.
When you did the pilot, did you know that this was a quarter-hour series rather than a 30-minute series? Because Adult Swim is kind of patented for these 15-minute quarter-hour things. I can't think of anyone else that is so great with it like Adult Swim is.
Yeah, we like our number one goal starting when we were making stuff with Nintendo strapped to our heads was to get a show on Adult Swim. I think it's always kind of been our goal. So 11 minutes is definitely in the mindset. Like when we went to put this together. Also, our shows are very fast paced. Psi Cops being the fastest yet, and we've always noticed that like a half an hour of that would be a lot of one episode. So I think it's just kind of intrinsic in the tone of our style is that like 11 minutes shorter works better.
Got it. Chris, you're nodding in agreement over that.
I'm nodding in agreement, but I do know that we went through different thinking processes over the time because we first made this demo in 2016, and the demo itself was 4 minutes, I think, which started as an 8-minute demo that we cut down to 4 minutes just because that was how our creative process was. Let's crunch everything down as far as we can. And there was a point in time where it could have been a 22-minute show, and I think could have made it work, but our hearts have always been in the Adult Swim bracket. Like that's what we've wanted to do since we were watching pirated copies of Aqua Hunger Force. It's the only way you could get it in Canada in 2002. And you're just kind of like, this is where I want to be. So we aimed for that. And I think that's the best format for Psi Cops, 100%.
Well said. So the last thing I want to know, being mindful of your time here, is when you talk about the turnaround time for Psi Cops, that is long. That's a year and a half or so from, not just writing it, but producing it and it coming out. So for us, these are new episodes. For you guys, these are old. Are we allowed to know what's next from both or either of you?
Do you mean what's next in another season?
Another
project
season, producing other roles, or is it Psi Cops this season's a swan song forever and ever?
Goodbye.
We're done. We're moving away. Yeah.
No. We're. Chris and I are every single day writing and creating. We have tons of projects on the go. So we're writing a live action feature comedy right now that we're kind of curious where it's going to go. We have a back pocket cartoon idea that we're getting super excited about. we're constantly, Chris and I, before Psi Cops, we animated everything we did as well. We usually did all the work. And so we're in this big tech investigation right now where we're playing around with Blender and Unreal and AI and all this stuff. So we're constantly creating. And right now we're kind of a little bit on a touch of pause while we wait to see how Psi Cops does. If Psi Cops does really well, we're obviously fingers crossed that we can convince some Canadian funding to make a season 2. And then that will be our direction. So we're creating in the sense of, we're creating in a bit of a limbo right now, but with every intent of getting, making more stuff. I mean, it's our passion.
Hurry up and wait, I think they call that.
Oh God, we've done so much of that recently. Yeah. What's on your shirt, by the way? I see the word park, and I'm curious what's
Park City Song Summit. They paid for me to come out to their music festival in Utah. So the least you can do is wear the shirt every now and then. Go. Park City, Utah is great.
I believe it.
Yeah. Just like Fredericton.
Hey, Fredericton's real. I swear. Google my name, Fredericton, and come with me to the Harvest Music Festival next summer, and come watch artists play intense. But
that's perfect.
The bottom line is, congrats on Psi Cops. Really looking forward to what's to come from both of you, whether you're just voiceover talent or writing and producing the whole shebang.
We really appreciate you taking the time. This has been fun, and you literally didn't ask a single question that anyone else asked. That was fresh. Yeah, that kept me on my toes.
The next junket, I'm going to watch some of your other interviews, and I'm going to give you somebody else's questions.
That's a weird threat, man. Don't do that.
I like it.
Awesome.
John, thank you for taking the time. There's so much to ask you because your credits are fantastic as an A&R person, as a person who manages states, the Jayhawks, et cetera, et cetera. But let's keep the focus of this one on the Bon Scott estate, the tribute show, et cetera. Now, how did you get involved in Team Bon Scott?
So I started working with the AC/DC catalog when it came over to Sony in 2003. And, that required a lot of deep immersion in the history of the band. And we ended up doing, all the albums as CD and vinyl reissues. Mm-hmm. And from there, I ended up working on several DVD products like Live at Donington, Family Jewels, Plug Me In. Ended up doing the Backtracks box set, which looks like a guitar amp and actually is a guitar amp. You can plug it in and play it. So, worked with the band for about, I don't know, almost 15, 16 years, something like that. And then from there, they were busy doing Black Ice and then Rock or Bust and world tours and all kinds of fun stuff. So they weren't focusing on the catalog as much. And then I ended up leaving Sony in about 2021. During COVID, started my own business, and Bon's family, who I had known sort of peripherally in doing all the band stuff, reached out through their attorney and said, hey, we need we're starting our estate company thing. We need somebody to do the creative part of it. Can you do that? And I was like, sure, absolutely. That'd be awesome. So we started with a merchandise line, a web store, a website, which they didn't have, all the social handles, really from the ground up, we've been building this presence and just trying to celebrate him for him. Obviously the band is out being the band, but really to make sure people don't forget who he was, and in fraternity and Valentine's and as a kid and, just the whole life story so that we remember him 10, 20, 50 years from now and not just, sort of forget about him.
Right. When it comes to legacy management, I think you and I could read minds and go, the best legacy management, the worst legacy management. An example of the best one is the Doors and Hendrix are still putting out unreleased material 50 years later after passing. In the case of Bon and AC/DC, the most tight-lipped camps in rock history, arguably. It's them and Van Halen as to who's got the tighter lips. Is there unreleased stuff from Bon that we haven't seen?
I mean, as far as I know, studio-wise, no. They even were, so broke in the beginning, they were like taping over, takes of songs until they had the one that they wanted. So as far as unreleased, music, I don't believe so. There's always, shows that have been bootlegged to death, which, we would hope could get revisited at some point, especially ones that have been, you can on Amazon find bootleg CDs and LPs of these things. So to legitimize some of that stuff and have some fresh material would be great at some point. But obviously it's all under the band business, and they, like you said, tight-lipped, tight ship. So, we're doing what we can to really focus on him as a person, as a lyricist, as a character. And to your point, the way that Jim Morrison is looked at, the way that Hendrix is looked at, we look at people like even Cliff Burton, Randy Rhoads, these characters who are so mythologized and died way too soon. And, people are fascinated with them and should continue to be.
Right. Well, I do work, not that this is the Darren interview, but I do work and regularly speak with David Krebs, who with Lieber Krebs was original co-management of AC/DC and all that. And he has very fond things to say about Bon. And there was a book written by Jesse Fink, which David was interviewed for, where it was kind of rumored/revealed, not to throw shade at AC/DC, that Bon wrote a lot of lyrics, if not all the lyrics, on Back in Black. Do you have any opinions on that? Or next question, please.
Next question, please.
But the key is Bon's estate is on great terms with AC/DC, and the working relationship continues, correct?
Absolutely, 100%. Oh, yeah. I mean, Angus still has great memories and admiration for Bon, and Jesse is misguided in a lot of his theories and that sort of thing. So we just sort of stay away from him.
Well, that tying in before we talk about the tribute show here, that is a commonality with Van Halen and AC/DC, not just in being tight-lipped, but anytime that the journalist is wrong, they don't even take the time to correct it.
No, because there's no point. It's not worth fighting over when someone is just not right.
Well said. So this tribute show, the way that I see it, it could grow into an Experience Hendrix kind of thing, because when you think about the number of musicians who were inspired by Bon and AC/DC in any city, you could simultaneously have that same exact show going on in New York, LA. It could be Bon Scott Day. Are you thinking that far ahead, or is this just a one-off in New York?
Well, so this is our first year of, doing a sort of an authorized official estate, stamped concert. A lot of other people have done them in the past, some to great effect, some to bad effect. So, part of what we're doing is kind of taking it on ourselves to manage quality control and manage